You guys don't even understand what a big deal this is. This is history. This is for dance history so that everyone can know the real icons of the dance world.
I think any reality show would go crazy again. It would be like dance, like it would turn into Dance Moms.
But you can't get away from the drama. That's why.
Right, but you knew what it was at the dance studio. It wasn't that heightened. You weren't learning a new dance on Tuesday sometimes. Their studio, I'm like, well, actually, we didn't have a costume finished and we still have to finish a part, but yes.
You know what? I had to repair a friendship from when we were like, I don't know, 13 years old. This girl, we had a trio. It was 3 girls. Uh-huh. And my mom took one of the girls out and put a boy in for New York City Dance Alliance so that we would win. We like reconnected and she's like, here's why I haven't spoken to you.
But also, like, it's not your fault. Like,
I'm so sorry that was my mother that did that to us. Right. And that it destroyed our friend. But we're like best friends now. Isn't that insane?
That's crazy. I just was such a selfish dancer. I didn't know anybody. Like I have people will be like, "Oh my God." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't remember because I was just so into myself."
You guys, welcome to the House of Royale. Welcome back, babies. This is an all female operation. I want you guys to go on the patreon.com/House of Royale. Give us 10 grand and I'm going to give Brooke 5.
Ooh.
Okay.
What did I do?
Right? Yeah. Just for existing. Because we're women. That's why we deserve the money. Below, share, like, subscribe, all of the things. Tell your friends about this episode. If you're a dancer, this is a TED Talk. This is a crash course into how to become an icon. Today, I am giving you one of the biggest dance icons in dance history, okay? Dance and music history. She is one of your favorite tour dancers of all time. She is one of your favorite choreographers. She is a visionary, a teacher, a creative director. She wears every single hat ever created. And her hair and her face and her body and just everything about her is amazing. You guys, please give it up for Brooke Lipton.
Woo! Hello. Hi. Those are like so many things that I'm like, who's here? Oh my gosh, who's gonna come in the door? I'm so excited to meet them.
So there is a theme song for this show, and Valerie Young and Jason Young choreographed the music video. I'm gonna show Brooke the video and have her critique it.
Oh my gosh, like it's a convention routine, like or a competition routine. Like I'm like, oh, is it gonna get a high gold, a silver, a bronze? No, yes, I love that. No, I love everything. I love dance.
One of my favorite things about convention was the staff routine at the end.
I will say that just like dropped my soul in my gut right now because I'm still doing those.
I love it.
I know, but it's 44. Every weekend, like I put on a costume and I still like, I've just taught all day and I'm always like, okay, you guys, we gotta do the faculty show.
Yes, the faculty show.
Yes, getting like, we still performing.
Listen, okay, bringing up age, like Vera Wang didn't start her dress line until 40.
Fantastic.
Like, and so when you are a year older, you're just doing the same thing with all of the experience.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. I've just been doing it for a lot of those years. I think so if I started doing faculty shows at like 14, so I've been doing like 30 years of faculty shows. Like sometimes when I then do the math going, I can't believe, like, I don't know how that time passed so quickly. Cause it also feels like yesterday. Like I was so excited to be that assistant up there at 14, like putting on my red sparkle dress during the Tremaine faculty shows.
Oh my God.
Like dance the blues away, dance.
I
right?
remember your choker with the spikes.
I used to get in so much trouble with that because I would wear it to ballet class. And my teacher was like, Brooke, you have to take that off. And I'm like, actually, and this is why I was such a smart ass, but I would be like, the line of the collar is so it's parallel to the ground, and it really helps me notice like if I'm tilting my neck. Like I would talk my way out of anything, and because I was like a hardworking person, but I was such a bitch a little bit when it came to that. I was like, she just didn't want me to have a damn dog collar that had a spike on. Which also, why did I wear a dog collar and a spike for 2 years?
Did they let you?
I mean, I would give in every once in a while, but I would show up still every day with that. It was a good like 2-year phase. I did that. I had a brown one and a black one. It started because a boy gave it to me first. So then I was like,
really? Who gave it to you? Do we know him?
Am I supposed to remember?
Oh my God. No. The boys, we don't.
I mean, it was definitely like a, summer
fling.
Summer, I don't know, I was 14 out here. When everyone stayed like a month long and took classes all summer long. Everyone would go hang out and go swimming in the pools and then go take class on Barnum by Universal.
On Barnum by Universal, you guys.
Okay. All the dance studios. Strut was there and people would come.
Yeah.
You just take class for a month in LA in the summer.
My mom ran the studio, so I was always with my mother. You know what I mean? So I was still like, mentally, I was still like such a child until I was like 16, 17. So like coming to LA was such like a daunting, overwhelming, and we were always just in a hotel. Like, and I didn't do the scholarship program until I was like 17 or 16, like for the Edge or whatever. But I still wasn't here by myself.
Yeah, no, I just started traveling on my own when I was 14. Like that was the first time I started getting on a plane. Like I started assisting Marcia Lane.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I think that's why I grew up. Cause like you do everything. You lose I didn't even have an ID or a credit card. Like you didn't need that stuff. Like I would get locked out of places. I'd be sitting like in the ground in airports being like, I don't know how I'm going to get home. Like you just have to figure out how to be all of a sudden an adult.
Okay, so wait, let's go back to the beginning.
Okay.
So like, how did this all happen? Because I don't even know your origin story. Like, I don't know like what dance studio.
So I grew up Dance Connection in Arizona.
Amazing.
And I think, so at around 12, Victoria Morris, who was an agent, came out and like started scouting came to Arizona and was like, hey, just want to talk to you guys about signing dancers and trying to get us into
At 12,
like trying to get like a younger dance group by like places closer. And so then sent out this big audition. And so like a lot of us went and ended up like 6 of us from my dance studio booked it.
Wow.
And it was a pediatric AIDS benefit, and Bill Bull choreographed the opening that had Paul Abdul, and then Lester Wilson did the rest of it. And it was like 30 dancers. So like Brian Friedman did it. Chucky Claypool, like all these working now dancers that like we just all met at this young sort of age.
Yeah.
And then I came to my next audition. I think it was like 6 months later. It was Kids Incorporated. They're still trying to keep.
Oh my God.
Still like trying to keep it going when it was kind of like fading out.
And so wait, Dee Casper was on Kids Incorporated.
Dee, Brian, who else was
Wow.
that? Yeah.
Okay.
And then I didn't book it, and then my mom was like, "We're done. Like that's it. Like you're going back. Like you have to go to school."
So wait, what was the dynamic with your parents?
Family of 6.
And your parents were kind of like,
well, you just had to, they were great. I mean, my parents were so supportive in doing everything, but no one came home and sat at home. Like you didn't come home and sit in TV. Like you had an activity to do. My brothers played sports. All like they're 4 girls. We all danced.
wow.
So, and
Was there sibling rivalry or?
definitely with clothing.
Okay.
Like there's definitely like, the same leotard would come back and be like, that's mine and that's mine.
Same leotard.
My sisters used to like, it was my younger sisters, like they would always get mixed up looking the same. And so I'd feel like, someone would be like, well, I have a polka dot, like a marker's messed up on that one. And then like the next day, like the tag would be cut out. So it'd be like, wait, but this one doesn't have a tag. Like you knew like some scheming was going on with clothing.
And so like in the dance studio, did you guys know who was like the top dancer, or it wasn't like that? You're like, it was me.
It was me. I mean, look, What do you want me to say? I worked hard. I loved dance. I loved it the most. I mean, that was really what it was. Like and I think that's why it's like, what was your family like? It's like, I don't know. I wasn't home. No, my family, they were great. Like I went to school. I got in the car. Dance was like 45-minute drive.
Wow.
I went to dance. I was there, every day or 3-4 days a week. And then the weekends was like when I found convention was like, oh, I can do this more. And then I can do this like every day for the rest of my life. And then I did that job at 12 and I was like, oh, I can do this as a career. Wow. Like I just became dance.
Yeah.
Like I loved it. I didn't care about missing
Anything
things
else.
at high school, like they would always be like, join the sports. Oh, you're great at sports. I'm like, great, thanks. Oh, be a cheerleader. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to. It's like,
oh yeah, I feel like back in the day, like now I love cheer, don't come for us. But like back in the day, it was like, oh, you're a cheerleader. Like that means you just can't dance.
Well, also it was like that took you away from things. Now it's so different. Now I've a totally different appreciation. I mean, there's two sides to it. I find that the dance studios have trained these amazing dancers. Then schools come in like high school teams who've done nothing, take the kids and then take like, look how great my students are. But I will say these amazing college programs out there, like they're insane.
Are there? Because in my day, it was like college didn't really know yet how to like get the kids ready. Okay, let's talk about it.
Okay, so I taught at LSU. Like I came in and just did a dance class. I was already out there, and I walked in and been like, can I go to college now? Like, like I didn't want to go then, but like what they're doing for them, like they're doing nutrients and training and cross training, and the facility is gorgeous, and they're bringing in outside choreographers and getting all this like, and then the energy, like why they're called cheerleaders. We were warming up and literally they're screaming for each other. Like we're doing sit-ups. They're like, you got this, girls. And I'm like, what is this? Like the best teamwork I've ever seen. Wow. Like it was like such that group unity.
Yeah.
And then
do you feel like it's cattier in the dance world compared to the cheer world?
Well, I don't know enough from the cheer world. Like that was just like my experience of seeing it now, where now I'm like, great, go to college and do cheer. Like, I also say, great, go on a cruise ship and do a job. Like where before you grew up here and it's like, you don't ever go on a cruise ship. It means you and I'm like, now I'm like, are you kidding? 6 months and you're seeing the world? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. I look at everything a little bit different. Catty? Yeah, dancers are all a little catty. I think actually people are probably a little less catty now because I think dancers are a little bit more fearful of it.
Right.
I feel like at least the younger generations, like they're a little bit worried about what they're saying to then some of the other ones that just, they don't care. They'll say anything. They love being on social media. They love like telling everybody how it is.
Right.
And I'm like, there's those two polar opposites of it.
Do you feel like the studios that are amazing compared to the studios that are like not as great, do you feel like it's because the teachers still withhold that like strict?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I think there has to be discipline. Like, I'm considered, I get told this still. It's like, well, you have such an old school style of teaching. And I'm like, old school, you mean I demand?
Mm-hmm.
Like I do. And I demand the room, and like, I love being in a room with 300 little juniors in there and like whip them in shape. And like, they're all sitting there looking. And I'm like, yeah, you kind of like the rules. Like if I let them run wild, it's a disaster.
Right.
But
absolutely.
So yeah, I think you have to be accountable. You got to make dancers accountable. Yeah. And I think when there's a lot of right now, it's like, everybody's good. Don't worry. If that hurts, you should stop. And I'm like, totally. I want to hurt. If something's hurting me, that used to be when like someone would be stretching you unbelievably the wrong way and your joints are being pulled. Like that's what it should stop. Not because like I actually did sweat today and then I moved my muscles and then that hurt.
Right.
Because that's a different when dancers are now like, that hurts. And I'm like, yeah, it's called work. You know? So I think there's just two sides to it. It's like, absolutely, I think we need to be nicer and calmer and take care of ourselves. Yeah. But we're not going to get anywhere without that push and that drive. And so yeah, I love a little discipline and demand.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this earlier. I feel like I started teaching at 14 and I was a major bitch. Like I had no patience. There was no like it's okay. Like it was just like, what is happening right now?
You're trying to prove yourself. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like you also you're just trying to show that you had authority at 14.
But no. It was because I literally was like, why is this so off? Like, just do it right. Like I just couldn't understand why it was so bad,
Because teaching's hard. Look, I think we all have days like that. I think it takes a lot of creativity right now. Cause like, I think right now I'm like in the convention world. Like that's what I'm doing this day. Like I got off the plane. Yeah. So like my head right now is in convention. Yeah. I could certainly walk in every day and look at those classes and just be like, ugh, you're awful or this, or why are you being lazy or why? And it's like, well, that's not going to get that point either.
Right.
So yeah, I have to remember that every dancer didn't grow up the way I did.
Right.
And also even the way I grew up and how I was taught, I was still then pushing myself. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to get out of your own head when you were good and you had a different mindset to now why don't you think like I do?
Right.
Why don't you want to do it the right way?
Yeah, like and there is a magic sauce to it. Like I commend you guys for getting the kids from here to here.
Right.
Because it does take so much work and it's just like all these little ingredients you have to put in there to get that out of them.
Well, I like when someone else has gotten them from here to here.
Yeah.
And I want to get them from here to here.
Yes,
because
exactly.
It is not fun. I don't think being a dance teacher at a regular studio, that never sounded fun to me. Like when I talk to the teachers every weekend, I'm like, what you do is amazing.
Yes.
Because for you to have to sit there and teach a kid how to do the plie for the first time and tendus and how to hold the posture, like I want to get them past that point and then go, okay, and add this and add this. Like that is where I feel like I have fun. I can't, the work that it takes to get to wherever they are now, like that's hard. Like that is so hard.
I want to talk about the magic of back in the day.
Okay.
Like when I was growing up obviously watching Brooke Lipton and we kind of like, we're talking about different choreographers, like the Mia Michaels era and like Dee Casper. Like aside from all of the crazy shit that was going on in that time, the magic of watching you guys on stage. Do you remember Cindy Wellick, by the way?
Of course.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Cindy, where are you?
She was there on the day. I think she was in that number when I broke my nose in Dee's company. Yeah, it was great.
Oh my God.
We were doing this like all girl number, and I threw Lori. It was Irwin at the time, but now Malawong. But we threw them all like up in the air, and then she went too high, so I went like everyone got scared to catch her, and so like I dove in, and her elbow like went straight down to my nose, and I knew it was broken because I've broken my nose like 4 times, and I'm holding it like this, and everyone's like crowding, and I was like, God damn it, all these girls get away from me, and then so I just finally like open like this, and like the blood just starts gushing down my face. So just going on with these stories.
And then she does a layout and it was art.
Basically, then I'm like, is it crooked? And they're like, no. And my nose is literally sticking out to the side. So I push it back in.
Oh my God.
And then I go to the hospital. And then they're like, it's fine. It's back and set. And I'm like, great. And then Dee's like, so when are you making it back for rehearsal? And then me, this is how I grew up, was like, I'll be there in an hour.
Oh my God.
Then I come back and then I keep rehearsing.
Holy mother of God.
So that's how I used to work. Like you basically, it was like, oh, you're bleeding? Fine.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, I don't like why the D story, same thing is like, so the day I booked Britney. So this was the like last year. I did his company for like, I think like 4 shows, 4 years in a row.
Wow.
And they were brutal process in the sense of like we danced on wheelchairs and flying and like it was the most challenge. Like I loved it, the challenge of my body. Like how hard can you dance? Yeah, I'll do it, right? And so literally at the callback book Britney. And again, we're rehearsing and I like call him like, okay, the callback's over. I'll be at rehearsal. I'm like, I booked the job. And he's like, okay, when are you going to be here? And I was like, oh
my God.
Like the same thing is like, I walk into the room, like no one actually was like, sure, people know you're in an audition or maybe they didn't. And I just walk in and I'm like, okay, I'll just come back. Like that, like it's like I was in one other world, like experiencing like the best thing, and then like also then going into the other world that I was like the hardworking. And even for me, it took me like 2 days to realize that I really booked like my favorite job, because then we were watching Madonna's concert, and all of a sudden like we're sitting there, and I was like, oh,
You're about to do that.
I'm gonna go do that. Like,
you know what? That is one thing about today that is a little bit better is like the camaraderie. Because I feel like if you were to book Britney and walk into a studio these days, people would have like balloons and they'd be crying and it would be all over TikTok.
People. We have gender reveal parties. Like people are having babies. Like that's a normal thing. And it's like explosion. It's purple. It's like, I mean, we celebrate everything. But yes, like I think at the time, it's really sometimes it was hard to be excited about things, or you didn't like brag about it, or you know, you know, you stopped calling home when you had an audition because you're like, I went to an audition today. And so then you get a call later, like, so how did it go? And it's like 3 years later, it's like, haven't booked a job. So I was going to stop calling and telling my parents I'm going on auditions because, you know.
You're like, you'll just see me on TV, like on the biggest world tour in music history ever.
I think that's also, like, that's when they really got it. I mean, they got it.
Yeah.
Like, my parents, no, they got it. But it was a lot easier to be like, so what are your kids doing? Oh, you know, my brother's a doctor. There was a lawyer, a school teacher.
Wow, Jesus.
And that 1, 2, 3, and then it was like, and Brooke's dancing.
Oh my God.
So, but then when it was like, well, Brooke's dancing with Britney Spears, then it was like, oh, we know who Britney Spears is. Like,
damn,
you know. So that it was just an easier title to say.
Okay, so wait, we're gonna get into Britney, obviously.
I love her. I love her so much.
Okay, I know. We all love you, Britney. Okay, come do the show.
Oh my God, come dance. I just want to dance.
Right?
I just want to dance. Like, I just want to dance with her again.
I think she will. She'll talk to you.
I just want to dance in her living room too. Like, I want to spin.
She needs you.
I do. I wish she had, like, I feel like especially our group of dancers, we loved her.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, I was there I watched the process, you know, going from Dream Within a Dream to Circus, which Circus was the first, like, I was there in rehearsals when when that happened. Like, we'd be sitting around and not at rehearsal because she couldn't be there. We didn't really know that she was, you know, going through it. But then, like, I saw the change. Like, we saw the change in the rehearsal process. So yeah, I've watched that, and still in my heart, I'm just like, I just want people around. Like, you want your friends. Like, we get older, you want people that just will call you and be like, how are you? And I don't want anything from you. Like, I don't want anything from you. I don't want your money. I don't want your fame. I want to take any of that away. Like, don't you want to go put your, you know, hang out in the sand or do nothing or take a yoga class or drink? But like, she also never got to do that stuff her whole life. Like, she never got to go drink a coffee by herself without thousands of people staring at her. Yeah. So, you know, it's hard. I always, in my heart, just go like, I love you, and like, let's go spin together. Like, I just want to go spin. I just want to spin. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So wait, before we're gonna get back into the.
I know I'm a bad jumper. I just jump.
No, it's fine. It's amazing. Like, oh my God, there's so much to get into with that. But I do want to know, as a woman back in the day, like, talking about booking such a huge gig and walking into the room and literally having to pretend like it didn't even happen. Do you feel like there was misogyny, or do you feel like the men and women were equal, or do you feel like it was kind of like, I'm the man, so like, just know your place? Was there any of that?
I don't know. I feel like,
or like weird power dynamics. Because like, for me, I know that male engineers and male producers will withhold music. They will try to fuck the artist. They will give artists ultimatums.
Well, I do feel like I mean, again, you walk into the room, like it's like the weekend, and I remember being like, whoever the cute hip hop teacher comes in, and like the girls are like, "Wah!" And it's like, and like I will say when I'm teaching sometimes in class, like everyone, I'm like, you guys cheer for each other, and they're like. And I'm like, let's pretend like I'm the cutest hip hop teacher ever.
Right.
And you like just get that giddiness. And then actually the room will kind of like giggle a little.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh yeah, that's silly. Like, why do we only do that in those certain places?
Damn.
Yeah. So I do feel like there's certain, like you watch somebody walks in the room and you're like we put on makeup today. Like we look cute. But I mean, I like the way I look either way. But
Yeah.
I do feel like you have to turn things on a little bit differently.
Oh my God. It's so wild. That point of view is even crazier because it is so true. Like the sexualization of the boys, okay? Because I
They're
remember
kind of ugly. Oh, sorry. They don't do anything. They put
the thing.
They put on a t-shirt, or they're just like a. But actually,
Talk
I
about
don't
it,
want
honey.
a guy who's like this. Like guys who are like, hey, like I'm like, no.
we need the manly.
I need the manly, but
Yeah.
I also, you can tuck in your shirt. Like you can actually try today. Like being
Right.
clean is a good thing. Like
Right.
I want guys to try. But yeah, guys don't have to do kind of shit.
They don't have to do shit. You know, I interview a lot of comedians and it's the same thing. Like a male comic with a mic, he could be 5 feet tall and be like not cute at all. And he's getting DMs to like get threesomes like after the show.
But what's wrong with those people? Not the comedian. Like, let's talk about the people who are DMing. Like, why? Like, is comedy that like hot?
It is like they're called chuckle fuckers is like the term.
Oh.
But like for the female comedians, it's like if you're hot and sexy and you're on a mic and you're funny, it's repellent.
But that's been life in general. Like with dancers, like I'll walk in the room, 6 girls, they're gorgeous. Like I'll feel like I'm the short, stocky, like I'm the tomboy one of the group. You know, like I have Amazon friends, and you walk in and like I look at all these girls and like no one has a boyfriend, no one's dating, and I look around at all these like kind of loser guys. I'm like, you're not even gonna dare talk. Like, why wouldn't you talk to these girls? Like
Thank you for saying that.
They're gorgeous and beautiful, but I also think there's something that. There's a lot that guys that can't handle like beautiful women, and I think as dancers we are so confident.
Yes,
and it's not even confidence in the sense of I don't think every dancer walks into a place going. I mean, I never walk into the room going, I'm the smartest person. I usually go like, hey, but I know how to own it. I'm very confident to say I'm not the smartest person in this room, and so I'm not.
We all know when Brooke walks into the room, we're like, oh my fucking God, it's Brooke motherfucking Lipton.
Look, we're gonna be talking. We're talking about stuff we love and know. Men
know that we feel confident.
We've been looking at ourselves in the mirror for a long time.
Since we were 3.
You learn how to.
Since we were 3.
3. I was 4 because
4, whatever.
I wasn't potty trained, and you couldn't wear diapers to dance class.
No way.
And at my studio, and I refused to be potty trained.
Wow.
So I had to wait till I was 4.
We knew who Brooke was gonna be at 4, people.
Late bloomer, but also that was me putting my foot down. Like
that was you rebelling.
You can't tell me what to do. Fine, then I'm not gonna do it. And like, did I win? I don't know.
The cuntiest 4-year-old.
Those are the battles I like. There's my choker. Like, did I win? I don't know.
Oh my God. You guys, Brooke had a choker and it was everything. And we just loved her. She was our idol. She was an icon.
I'm going to find it. I'm going to bring it back. I'll send you a picture of it. Yeah.
Please bring it back. Yeah. And where are all the photos? I'm like on the internet, like Brooke, Lipton, Britney Spears. Like, where are all of the we need a photo dump.
Okay. Well, as I've told you before, I'm very bad at social media.
You're like, I was on all the tours. Okay,
well,
what else?
You know, that was the beginning. Like, Instagram, when did that come? Instagram came out when we were doing Glee.
Oh,
because I remember it was a big deal that like everyone was starting to get it. And I was like, what's this? You know?
Yeah.
And, but it was like also at the time, now I'm in like television world. You couldn't post anything. You couldn't take pictures.
Right.
It was like, well, you could take a picture on set, but don't show anything. You couldn't leak anything. So then I was in a very different world. But when we were on tour, I mean, we had disposable cameras.
Yeah.
You know, you were like taking pictures and you didn't know what was going to happen. Or
it's wild.
Yeah, I got my
But wait, thank God though, because
oh my God, it would have been bad. Well, we did. We made our own. We have homemade videos. We were trying to make a whole tour video of that. Like we thought we were doing
right. What the?
And then they actually did. That's where when Britney and Kevin's Chaotic, they started doing a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I got so panicked that tour because I already knew I was pregnant the whole time.
Oh my God.
The whole time.
Aww.
Yeah, it was like, I was crazy. I was masturbating on stage. And it was like, that was, that, yes, I had, it was like that. It was like, there was beds and we got undressed and then we did this whole like touching. Right. And then it was like, and I had this magazine that the tour guys would always put like funny pictures in. And then there was these jumbo screens and I was like, so uncomfortable. And then when they like the last 2 days when I told everyone I was leaving because I was pregnant, then they put all these like baby mom pictures and things in the book, like just laughing. But yeah, because I was like, they're going to make a reality show and then it's going to end up being like, I'm going to be a whole storyline. And like, I was really panicked about that.
Yeah. But now we're going to need the book.
I mean, like, let's do it.
I think it would be so amazing though to like rework that whole story and grab whatever you can from those days because it is so like Leo.
Yeah.
The shit that he posts, I'm like, I've never seen this. This is so cool.
Yeah.
Like every time you guys post from that era, I'm just like, we need more of this.
No, it's great. It's great. I mean, and that's why thank goodness for Brian and his videos. Like he has like vaults of stuff of like rehearsal videos, class videos, all that stuff, you know? And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I haven't seen that in forever.
Oh my God.
There are better people.
Okay, Netflix and Brian and Brooke and Leo. Can you guys all just get together and fucking produce this film?
Let's do it.
Please.
I have great ideas that I want everyone else to do because I don't want to do the work.
Okay.
So, I always do that. I'm like, somebody should do this. I do have an app that I want somebody else to make because I just don't want to do it.
Brooke, it's you. Like, just tell them and they'll do it.
I know. That's me. I think about things and I'm like, I hope somebody does this one day.
You know what's so crazy though about doing this little podcast is I have had a few people on here. For example, Johnny Rice.
My favorite.
Okay.
I have to tell, I do tell him constantly, I go, my favorite, and he says, you promise. And I say, I always promise. So,
yes.
Yeah.
And let me tell you about promises. I promised him during his interview that he was going to collab with Paula, Janet, and he was going to get back together with the Kiss Boys, and all three happened.
I didn't know all those three. I haven't seen them. It's been I know that they just did a show because I was out of town and I couldn't make it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All three happened, and I'm just like, babe.
I love Johnny. Johnny is one of my favorite dancers to hire. So he's been playing high school for about 30 years. And then what I always do is I always am like, just make sure nobody sees you so then I can hire you again. So you could be like in the same, you could be in the same school, but a different group. So that like, so he would just used to always like turn his back a little bit. So instead of where, you know, like every dancer wants to be seen, I'm like, no, just make sure you were really hidden and then I can bring you back over.
That's
like,
so funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so wait, for Glee, how many dancers were pretending to be 18 that were not? Everyone. Every single person.
Well, everybody. I think there was like twice that we hired underage kids because like we did young kids on the show. But yeah, that's why when I was teaching on convention was really great at that moment in time because I was literally getting fresh dancers that were just moving out to LA. Like their first job was Glee. Like there were dancers who really got into the industry so quickly and got a huge big break because there was people out here in LA who had been here for years being like, all I want to do is be on Glee. And we're like, but you're 28. Like that's old. But in Ryan Murphy world, that was too old. Like he wanted it to look as close to natural as possible. So yeah, it was like the 18-year-olds were working.
Can we talk about, because when I was growing up in a dance studio and travel. And like, even like coming to LA, the choreographers would be like, look, your career's over at 25, y'all. Like, can we talk about how fucked up that is? Like, can we change the narrative?
Well, I used to say 10 years. I would say people's like careers were 10 years. And it wasn't because of like it's done. I think people's patience.
Bodies. Oh.
No, I think their patience. So like when you would have a dancer who would start like working young at 12.
Yeah.
By the time they got to be 22 and they had been on set and doing all this stuff, their patience of the dance world was done. A lot of them now want to either move on. Like now they want to direct or do something like, and so the same thing happens like you 18 to 28, you've been doing these jobs. Maybe you're sitting on set, maybe then your brain thought is different. Like, oh, I want something more steady. So there's a lot of different change in mentality like that. Yeah. But I think the narrative of that's like, no, there's dancers fucking killing it. Like when their bodies are still snatched. I mean, Taylor's dancers right now, there are some babies on it, but there are a lot of dancers in those 30s like out there. Like they're mature dancers who have a career.
Do you know Karen?
Karen Chuang.
So she went to our dance studio and I choreographed her first solo ever.
I call her Little Poops. That's her nickname. She knows that's her nickname. Yeah, I love her.
Oh my God.
She's incredible. She's fantastic because we always talk about it because I remember there would be a phase where she's like, I just never look older. And I'm like, enjoy that. Like, enjoy that you're still being casted to do like a high school job at 30, you know, because we're not. But yeah, no, it's amazing.
She's on Taylor, right?
She's on Taylor right now. Yeah. Like, and loving it. Like, and who wouldn't be loving? Could you imagine walking out in that arena and the crowds and incredible? I mean, so fun. Like that's the whole thing.
But like you're right. Like I knew, and I think what ruined it for me is like when your parent is running a dance studio. I think I was over it by the time I was 15, you know, and I kept going until I was 17.
Well, so there's a hard relationship with parent teacher. Like it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter. Every parent-teacher relationship that I've ever had a conversation with, even when it's the best, even when the everyone is trying and being aware of it, it doesn't matter because as a student or as the kid, when your mom says something to you, even if it's out of love, you still hear it as a negative. Just like if your dance teacher says anything to you, you're like, oh. Yeah. And as a parent, even though you're going, I'm giving that same correction and that same correction. Right. The truth is they are getting a little bit more mad at you because it's like they expect you to know what they want. So even if they're trying not to have that, there's always a little bit, it's so hard to break and separate those two worlds.
Yes. And also I felt like I was on set all day long, every single fucking day at the studio.
You knew, you knew everything. You knew the backstory. You knew all the extra, like,
the parents, like I was dealing with the stress of the parents as a child, watching my mom getting her ass handed to her by like, and we had 2,000 students, so it was 4,000 parents, you know? Yeah. And so when I look at, because like even some of our students that left at a young age that did what you did, that like had the freedom to like leave. Yeah. Like, because I wanted to go to LA too, but like I couldn't. Right. And so I think my whole thing is like, well, fuck this. I'm just going to be the singer because I can't even deal anymore.
Yeah, but that's so smart. That was so smart. No, it's it's just, I think again, when I say people's dance career just changed, it's like your dance career kind of started a lot younger. Like if you said you're starting at 14, that means that's when you were like, I'm an adult now. Yeah, and so, yeah, but you're in that aspect. You got to, in that adult world, you might not have been to where you wanted to be, but then when you got to be doing this for long enough, you're like, actually, I'm ready to move on. Yeah. So I was done. You knew this is not like, and maybe you didn't want to be stuck, and which is okay. Like
I didn't want to be
a dance
yelled at anymore. Like no, it wasn't that. I don't want to say that because like you guys need to be fucking yelled at. I didn't want to learn choreography. I didn't want to have to be a part of the group. Yeah. You know, and be like,
you're a star.
Everyone breathe together. Everyone move and stay. I was like, I just want to fucking do my own thing. Like, it was, and so I commend the dancers. Like, but you guys had more freedom on tour because that was such wild shit. Like, it was so fun.
Different things. Like, I mean, and again, we were like, what was so great about that, Brian and Wade, like, we were all brought in very individual. Like, I did not look like Amina or,
Exactly.
I mean, maybe you could have classified me and Nancy closer together, like the redhead and the blonde, but we were both also still very different. And then Angelo's crazy and wild. And then all the guys looked different. Like, we were all brought in to be ourselves.
Your own
We
artist.
never wore the same clothing. Like, it was very rare. Even our black and white outfits, everyone's were individual. Like, there's never a uniformed look. So that was kind of what was cool about it, where now, let's say it's like Beyonce, you know, if everybody's wearing a black outfit, but also that's a style, that's a choice. Like, I don't think they stay like that forever, you know, because obviously her last tour, they were very unique and individual, but there are times where it's like, I need this formation to look like one.
Right.
And it was like more of like, here we are, we're a part of your show.
Right.
So that was beautiful. Yes. And I feel like, not that saying that was the end of an era of it, but there's not a lot of pop stars that you think of as like, oh, this is a pop dancer.
Right.
They are dancing and they are bringing their dancers around. You think, like, you can name them. They're Janet and it's Madonna and it was Britney and, you know.
And Gwen had the Harajuku girls.
Right. And it's so... But it's different now. It's just a little bit different how that world is, or it seems like it moves so much faster. Or I don't know. Everyone has dancers, you know, for every show, and you're like, oh, I didn't know you were an artist that used dancers, like, but which is great. I love giving like as more than many, but it's been a while since there's been artists who have dancers that feel like they're right next
Their
to them.
own thing.
Beyonce is like, she has that too, where, you know, so there are a few that are still carrying on, but a little bit different.
Okay, so right now, if you could do anyone's tour, who would it be?
Well, on what side?
Or would you?
What side? I
Like,
mean,
if you were the choreographer.
Oh.
Or do you want to be in it? Do you want to be the dancer? Do we get to see Brooke on tour again?
Oh my gosh. I would dance. I would go back on tour with Britney if she said,
oh my God.
If she was like, we're going back, I'd be like, great. Like, let's do it.
Oh my God.
Wouldn't that be so fun? Yes. And I know, I mean, I'd have to, I know Nancy would come. I'd really have to talk Amina into it. Cause like, do you know about Amina's shoes?
Johnny Rice.
Okay.
Oh wait, I need the cut. Okay, Johnny Rice told me all about Amina.
Okay.
She's like, we like fly her media over during his episode, and the whole. That's how I found out about her.
You need to buy her shoes.
Okay.
They're so fucking sick.
I know. I saw them. They're amazing.
They're amazing. But she's busy. What I mean is that she's busy. It would take a lot to get her back. She would maybe do a one-time show.
But also, Britney could like wear her shoes on tour, and
they would be so great. We could definitely get Leo. Unfortunately, we lost a couple of those guys. You know, we've lost. Yeah, because Andre's passed and Gabe's passed, and so you know, our that tour. But. Yeah, but like, you know, Baby Garza, he did the next one. Like, we could get a whole Britney crew of people who would come back, I'm sure, that would make it fantastic.
Okay, well, we're manifesting it.
We're doing it. I don't know, like,
what about Wade? Would you,
if Wade would come back? Absolutely. I just like, please cradle me back in your arms.
The drama.
No, he's fantastic. Every time I see him,
I don't mean Wade as a person, because like I've like, you know, I know where he's at as a person, and I think it's amazing, and like I follow him on Instagram, and it's like so beautiful.
Would he come back?
No, I'm just saying America, their perspective on all of it. It would be like,
do we care? Sorry, are we supposed to care what America thinks?
I'm just saying. At first, it would be like, oh my fucking God, this is.
Well, yeah, but America's an idiot. I'm sorry, I don't know who watches this, but I think the people who watch this are not what I consider to be America. Like,
but the problem is like you guys, it's such like a big pop culture thing that it would be under a microscope. And so therefore you would just be dealing with like the comment section from the whole planet.
Yeah,
you know
but
what I
I
mean?
don't know if I have ever, and again, no one's talking about me that much. Like nobody cares that much
They
about me.
would.
Well, but and also like
In a good way though.
Sure, or bad. Like, but if again, when everyone is wasting their time like writing that, I can't waste my time.
No.
Like that's why when you're like, where are all these pictures? It's like, because I'm not sitting on my phone all day doing that. Not that there's something wrong. I just like, I'd rather.
You lived it.
I would rather sit in room with you and have this conversation.
Yeah.
You know, like that's just to me so much more special about it. Whatever is being put together. And I think that's also what's hard about this industry too, is that, you know, you look at a show, an artist, someone put on something and someone's always ready to be like, well, that wasn't as good as it should be, or that wasn't that. And you don't know what the artist was doing. They don't want to do that show.
Yeah.
The choreographer was given no time, the budget, whatever. Like you sometimes never know what the circumstances are of the situation.
Yeah.
So being now on the other side of that, when like if someone's going to be judgmental, I'm like, well, if you knew that we actually didn't rehearse that and that just kind of flew together, like we couldn't have been more proud of that performance that just happened, that you know, we did together. Like, so it's always different. I feel like the world though, you know, what they were believing and what they were still trusting in was such a lie in the first place. So,
but it was also, it's, you know, what's so crazy. Another thing about women in media is people are so locked in on like who they're dating and like who they're in love with, or like
that's what was so it was crazy when you go back to Britney and actually now that they're dissecting sort of the process of what happened is like when she was there out and going in interviews, like, and you wonder when you could watch how she started to shut down in those sort of processes, because she came and sat in the chair and you're sitting next to whoever interview and they're talking about who she's sleeping with. Are you having sex? Are your boobs real?
Yeah.
Like what, you know, oh, you wore this, they're slut shaming her because she was like an 18-year-old girl who had a fantastic body who said, I want to move like this.
Yeah.
And the world had a problem looking at her because they couldn't justify that they were attractive to an 18-year-old girl. And it's like, she was just a kid performing. She was just like us putting on competition clothes and like killing it.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
But at the same time, she was so sweet.
So sweet.
And so professional. And for so long.
And just like a lot of dancers and people, she could kill it out there. But when it came off to being then off stage and being surrounded by all these people, it's like how I feel sometimes you get into the room. It's like, I'm not the most educated, like don't start talking about me about politics or economics. Like I don't want to. Like can we talk about that costume again? Like so you have then that world's getting so judgmental and then breaking that down and she's like, I'm just still a kid who just did a rehearsal and did an awesome show. You know? And I think that was what's so hard about that stuff is like there's different person as a dancer side to it.
Yeah.
What we do on the dance floor is like, you want me to be a vampire? Sure. Like I'll eat anything. You want me to do musical theater? Like, but that's not me, you know?
Right.
Like,
it's a character.
It's a character. I turn them all on and I turn it off and then.
That is the hardest thing about art in general though. Like, wouldn't it be so amazing if we didn't even have a phone? Because then we could just create
I'm sorry. Who else is going through this right now? Beyonce's not country. And like, it's
God.
Like, right? I mean, you know, it's like, first of all, why are you even having this debate? And then I love when they do have the debate and then they bring up every like successful country artist and they're like, they're from Australia and they're from Canada and this one's from where, like, it doesn't matter where you're from, you know, or it's just people want to cut down success now, at least for me. I just feel like social media has become a safe place for people to become negative rather than where it was harder to tell a boy in high school that you like them.
Yeah.
Instead, now you could just be like, so hot.
I didn't move to LA until 2010, and it was already like, you're blonde, you're white, you sound like a mix between this girl, and there's 100 of you.
Right. I'm sure you got such shit talk.
Oh my God. It was like, go fuck yourself. And I was like, no, I'm literally going to get a record deal and go on tour, bitch. Like, you know, and I did get signed to well, I'm going to have to bleep all this out. I didn't have a soul. I had no emotions. Like, they treated me like I was absolutely nothing.
But I mean, I'm not on that side of the music world, but when they say the dance world is hard, like what happens in the music world is also crazier, because
insane.
you have talent who it's like, well, nope, you're not that look. You can't do, like, it's just a different.
Or you are the look, you are the sound, but there's so many of us, and it costs so much fucking money. Like, for a female pop act, even for a male pop act, to put a show on, it costs so much money.
Yes.
For me, it's such a sensitive topic when we're talking about, like, how she was viewed. Like, because she already was, like, put on this. She was like, from a child, it was like, boom, you're like in the farm, and they put these kids out, like Selena, Miley. Right. Like, they're just ready to go. They're a package deal. And it's just like, you're going like this, like, well, I hope it turns out well. Right. And then you just don't know how.
Well, and then it turns out well. Yeah. And then it goes, well, are we doing this right? Right. Like, now I think people are at least more self-aware, or you're allowed to, like we've said, in the dance world, like, oh, is this mentally okay for you? Right. Like, to me, I'm like, yeah, I need you to work hard. Like, my work hard is, you're allowed to sweat. You need to work your muscles. Like, if you're sore at the end of the day, that's because, like, you worked hard. If I was pulling your legs apart, not okay. Like, if I'm breaking you, that's not okay. Right. But like, that's a different. So I feel like when those categories get pushed into one another, like, oh, you're hard. It's like, yeah, I'm hard, but I'm not abusive. Right. And I feel like at least I try and control always that line. Mm-hmm. And I feel like now, and again, like going back with someone like Britney, it's like, you look into how that work was. When was it became abusive, and what was right for her? Just because now it's it's successful, we got to keep going, got to get, like, there was always that fear of what if we don't keep pushing, right? And then you're running on fumes, and it feels like you're just like gasping for air. But what I also want to bring up, because you and I talked about this earlier today, which is so exciting, so fun, that it's almost like, because human beings are finally like kind of evolving in the world, like planet Earth is going through a shift, and like, guess what, you guys? Today is a solar eclipse. Absolutely. Kind of couldn't see anything here. But like, the 90s are back. Y2K is back. It doesn't effing matter. It's all coming back. And it's just this melting pot where it's less judgy, where I feel like when I moved to LA, everything was very categorized and very compartmentalized and stereotyped. Oh, absolutely. Whereas like now, like Gen Z is like, yeah, we just created bell bottoms. Look, like, and you're like, no, you didn't. No, I actually, it's funny. I was talking when I was with Karen and some friends, and she was trying on a friend's jeans, and they were slit up, and they were like, oh, look, they make bell bottoms. I'm like, you know what we used to do is we used to then take like the flannel or material, and then you cut your jeans and then sewed it, or you took cuffs and you put them on the end, so like they were on the top of your jeans and the bottom, and it was like, oh yeah, and I was like, yeah, we've done all that, but it, like, now style wise, I don't know what's like. Anyone can wear anything, and you can't go, that's horrible. It's like, no, this is not your taste. Yeah. So, yeah. But it's exciting to also then feel like less, because we have so many women now, like Madonna, J-Lo, Cher, like, they're on full-blown world tours. Oh my God. Still like going. At certain ages where you're just like, how the fuck are you doing? But it gives all women this sense of like, oh my God, can we keep
doing this?
Yes, we can. We can keep doing this.
Because the feeling for a lot of artists, because like I interview a lot of female singers, and in their mind, they're just like, I guess I should just learn how to be a real estate agent now. And it's like, but why? Like, why can't we just be an artist forever?
I just want people to be an artist and be able, or just own with how they look and feel and grow and go with age. And then when someone's like, you look horrible, to be like, thanks, I don't care what you say. You know, because I feel like what happens is, and like with actors and everybody, like everyone feels so much pressure. It's like, I gotta have the Botox, I gotta have the lift, I gotta do all this. And I'm like, oh, I would have loved to known what that person would have just done naturally.
Yeah.
Because like there's also a lot of gorgeous natural beauty. Like I haven't had Botox, I haven't done any of this stuff. And I'm like, I also go, you know, what if I do that stuff and then like 20 years later it like doesn't fall the right way?
Dude, that's why I'm so scared of Botox.
Right.
I'm so scared of it clumping and falling.
Or it's like, you know, it's like the percentage of that someone has the reaction. It's like, I don't really want to be the percentage that finds out that then like, you know, like I do watch Botch. Like that is a fun show to watch. It's like, but you know, you don't want
like this is why I won't do it.
Or like Pimple Popper. I'm like, I don't want that.
It's always such a relief to see other women on the internet being like, I don't give a fuck and this is fine. Like I love Chelsea motherfucking Handler. I love Chelsea Handler.
Well, and I think now what is beautiful about social media and beautiful about these things is that there are a lot of famous people, actors, artists, whatever, coming out and being like, yeah, I do deal with this and I do have this issue and I do deal with, you know, the same thing. And I think the more that we share those stories, like that's why I still love being on convention. You know, I love, where would I rather have my choice? I love working on a movie, a film, being here, being in LA, being close to my kids. Like I love that work, but I also still love traveling out and being there. And I love connecting with these teachers and that who are going through this shit. And to be like, I hear you, I see you. And that I get to share like your same, that's happening at the studio and that's happening at the best studios and not just the worst studios and not just in this town. Like it's every kid around the country, and like, what can I say to help you? What tools can I give you today that gives you that relief? Or, you know, I stretch with my teachers and even if it's for a half hour and we do these things and they're like, that was so wonderful. Like, I just feel better. And I'm like, if I can make you feel better today, like that's part of why I love what I do. I don't teach dance class to, do the coolest combo and to be like the most trendy teacher or whatever.
Even though it is the coolest.
No, I will say I have fun with it, but like I can make those babies work. But I'm telling you, you know, I'm not getting an 18-year-old to think that jazz is still cool when they want to do contemporary or hip hop. Like I'm not going to change their mind in that aspect. So I'm in that world. It's like I'm not competing to be your favorite at that. I just hope that whatever I say in that next 45 minutes maybe changes how you think about it or gave you that confidence or pushed you in a certain way and broke you out of a mental block that you have. Like that is what my goal is, not to get, because you know what, you're probably going to forget these dance steps. And you're going to forget what song we did in 4 years. Like you're not going to remember every detail, but I want you to remember something that changed you in that room. And so I think that's,
oh my God. Okay, wait, two things. Oh, there's so many questions. But first of all, speaking of real women, are we allowed to talk about the Apple TV thing?
I don't know. Sure. Why not?
Okay. Because, you know, it used to be. But
well,
like,
the show's out. The show's airing.
Oh,
so.
it's airing. Okay. So you guys, Kristen Wiig, can we talk about Kristin and like that whole experience? Because she is one of those women that is like, I don't give a fuck. Like I am who I am. She's amazing.
Okay. So can I tell you, so we did, one of the scenes is a 14-page dialogue dance scene. So it's one of the hardest things I've ever done in the sense of it, because it wasn't just a choreographed, here, I'm doing a production number, you know, like it was, you know, days of work of actually breaking down the dialogue with dancers and actually creating what moves they could do and say and tell the story.
Wow.
So it was, working with the director and the moves. So you're kind of telling the actors how they're going to have to act.
Wow.
And by doing the dance moves. So we broke that down. So every actor in that scene, so there's like 8 main characters, had big dialogue scenes that went through and crisscrossed through one of another throughout it. And then we had like 60 dancers dancing and showgirls doing choreographed movement and being like, fill in that window, do this.
Yeah.
So Kristin, because she's the star of the show and always working, never rehearsed with us.
Oh.
So basically, she came in and we would show her, be like, here's your scene, and like run with it basically with once through it. And she's like, yeah, I got it. She's she's so good. Like she's just so, and like Nancy Anderson, who was on tour with me, was her like, I call her dance like skeleton, but dance double in that sort of sense of, so like Nancy was like, I have to be Kristin. Like I have to move like her. And like, so all these little like cute little funky things is because like Nancy was like, yeah, like this is what I think you would do. And then Chris is like, yeah, that's what I'll do. And like kind of go in and
incredible.
So, but that's where, being time efficient and understanding, like I have an amazing actress that needs to look fantastic.
Yeah.
And I have this much time with her. Like what can we give her in that point to do all that stuff?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I got the other, actors and people probably for longer, they'd be able to come in for an hour or 2 or something. But yeah, she was fantastic.
But, and like for me, what's so amazing about all of you is the desire that you guys still have for this shit. Like you are so on fire for it, you know?
And I think, well, that's what I love about the outside, like going into choreography. And I guess the difference with television, working with an artist, doing something like if we did a show and you have this big, huge, grand show, it's like you do all this work and then it's kind of done.
Yeah.
And then even the hype of the excitement, the roar of the crowd that goes, the excitement in doing film and television, it's not in that moment. Like that is sort of right there. You're just this massive piece. You're in a room with 100 other people. And you know what? Your job is important, but so is the craft service guy and the lighting and the PAs who are circling everyone around. It takes this massive production that you can't be a diva and a superstar being like, well, it's all about us right now. It's like, no, it's all about what I'm working with to make that. So now it's just this piece of puzzle that I think in having that creative mind or having that dancer mentality of like, I care, I want it to look good, I have an eye for it, is how do I make that all work in this little equation of what else is going on and to make that also become special and be the best thing that happened that day. Like I want when dance comes onto the set that everyone goes, oh, we need dancers here all the time. Or that just made it so special. Or wow, they were so easy to work with. Or they were so gorgeous. You know, I don't want my dancers, I don't want people coming on set and being assholes or like the hair department or wardrobe was like, God, they were bitchy or this one was late or whatever. It's like, I want the same energy that I'm going to bring in there to be with who else is doing it. So then also, when dancers work with me, it's like working with Brooke, that was like the best job. Like I strive for everyone to walk out of that because like we said, I grew up in environments that were hard and negative or wow, push, end result done, go get out of here. Like I want that experience. You leave the room, be like, okay, let's do that again. Or I call and be like, are you available? It's like, yes, I'm going to drop everything. I'm available. Like I want that in return, so that's what I'm trying to give out.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I do these things way too long. Every time I end up doing a podcast, they're like, we have to do a 4-session breakdown of this one because it's supposed to be 20 minutes and we did 2.5 hours. So,
what podcast were you on?
I just did one for Jenna and Kevin. They do a breakdown of Glee.
Oh.
It's so fun. Like it was just, I don't know with anyone
Where
else.
can we see it?
Oh, well, no, we're not on TV. I would be embarrassed. We just listen.
Oh, it's just okay.
Yeah. No. Being on, I'm like,
well, you're on camera
I
today.
Yeah,
baby.
I don't know what's happening. I haven't looked over there once. So
how come no dancers have ever had? You're the only dancer with this hair. I swear to God.
Well,
it's amazing.
I cut it myself now, but that's just because every time I go get a cut, I'm like, I don't know if I like that one. Well, this
I
is
love
it's a
it.
funny story.
Okay.
So my hair was here and it was getting to be shit, and I was wearing it in a bun every day, and it was, I wouldn't say it wasn't like that it was thinning. I just wasn't doing what it used to do. I just kind of was like, I would do it and I'd be like, well, that just feels a little dead. I saw a friend of mine, he's like, we just have to cut it. Like and I was like, yeah. And I was thinking like, I'll go here and like shape it and rock it and like go back to like my Pat Benatar, like, that kind of fun stuff. And he kept tapping the back of my shoulders and I kept tapping the front. So like I kept saying like here and he kept tapping here, which then ended up being like there. So
as they do.
As it chopped, it kind of like did this. And I was like, well, I guess so. And then he was like, should we do more? And I was like, well, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what I want. And he's like, just sit with it. And like, I walked out and I basically all of a sudden then had short, long hair. Because it did exactly what the long hair did. Like, it didn't bounce. It didn't fly. It was just, and I had 60 dancers in rehearsal the next day. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, it looks so pretty. And that is the last thing I ever want anyone to ever say to me. And it's not in a bad way. I just always want to look like, I want to look cool. I want to look, oh, I love that. Like I've never wanted to be pretty. I never felt pretty. So I sat everyone down and I was like, before the job starts, and I explain everything to you. I'm going to do what I was told. Thank you. I appreciate all your comments at my hair. Please don't talk about it again. Like, because I was like, I hate it. And then the whole time I was just like, and I just kept cutting and like, it just
yourself?
Was like, well, no, I would go somewhere and like they would cut and then like a week later it would grow out and then we would cut more. And then, so the only thing I haven't done is I haven't shaved at all. So, but this grows back in like, I mean, it was like super, super short, probably 2-3 months ago.
Wow.
So like my hair grows back really fast. So if I just shaved it all, like this back here was buzzed a month ago.
So for the Britney tour.
Oh, I would totally shave it. Well, no, I'd probably have to be back. I would have to have some red so people know. Oh yeah. Oh, that's a funny story.
Okay.
Okay. So
Tell us another Britney story.
I don't know if I've ever told anyone this story. We had dressing rooms one day that were connected to each other, and like Sunny Walters was in there, and I don't know if Teresa was in the room, but we were all like putting on our makeup, and Britney, we could hear her, and I think she had just watched like Madonna's Blonde Ambition tour, where all the dancers had shaved heads. And we heard her talking about it. And like, we're all just like getting ready. And she's just like, oh my God, wouldn't it be amazing if like all the dancers and like, we just all like shaved we're all like, kind of like,
Yes.
And like, at that time you're still attached to everything. And that tour was actually really funny because I considered myself the redhead.
Yeah.
But not with Teresa and Sunny.
Oh.
Because they both considered themselves also the redheads.
Okay.
And because like Teresa had pink hair that she had worn with like Janet, and Sunny had like all these red curls. Okay. So they had two different like shades of pinkish red.
Yeah, you were still the one.
Yeah, but they dyed my hair brown. That tour, they like calicoed my hair. So I went a lot more natural red. Okay. And it went like red and brown and things. And then Britney didn't want some extensions. So then they ended up putting on my hair. So they had ended up putting these like massive extensions on and like cut my bangs like blunt. So like, whoa. I was like kind of all of a sudden like became the brunette. And then I was pregnant. And so my boobs were like this big. So I kind of looked like a porn star. It was hilarious. But yeah, like whoever asks you on a daily basis if you're pregnant, no one does because that's not real. But like I had a couple people like would be like, are you pregnant? I'm like, no, of course not. Why would you think that? And I'm like,
oh my God.
Because
that's
my boobs, my boobs had grown from like a C to like a double D in like weeks. And like, I'm like the one like doing sit-ups like in between. And it's like, well, that's not real. Like it's not going to go.
It's not going to do anything.
Go anyway. And then the whole show, I would have to scout out the bathrooms at every arena because I was in 17 numbers in that show,
Oh
and
my
I would get
God.
1 7-minute break in the whole show, and like everything else was like a 30-second quick change. And so I would have to find in that, where could I pee, because I can't make it if I don't go, because I had to
Oh my
pee all
God.
the time.
Wow.
Because when you're pregnant, you pee all the time.
Oh my
all the
God.
time.
Did
Yeah.
you ever tell Britney?
I told her finally when I left. Like, I told everybody and everyone was like, oh my God. And even the tour manager was like, it's great. You can stay on. Like, you're fine. Then they watched the show the next day, and like, Leo's doing death drops with me like this and spinning, and I mean, but my body was used to it. Like, I was still doing my pancake and aerial front walkovers. People are like, you can't do that. And I'm like, no, you can't do that. Like, I can do it. Like, if I've been doing an aerial the
Wait,
whole time.
the aerial front walkover. Okay, there's only 3 people that can do this: Brooke Lipton, John Crutchman, and Terry motherfucking Beeman.
and Brian.
And Brian Friedman.
Yes.
Okay, the big 4.
But yeah, no, but I was, and then they were like, and I was like, that's why I didn't tell anybody I was pregnant. But also what's that? I mean,
They were like,
in the real world, can you get fired for being pregnant? No. Should you have been? I mean, can they technically? They probably couldn't have, but I knew they would have.
Wait, were you throwing up? Because here's
No.
like,
I was not a vomiter.
okay, my mother got pregnant with me in Japan. She was dancing in a show, and they were wearing like 400-pound headpieces. And she was like, I got pregnant with you because your father flew out to visit me, and I got pregnant. And I was like running off stage vomiting.
I would get sick. Like, it wasn't sick. It was, everything seems so bad. It's like, do you want Mexican food? No. Do you want, do you want Italian? No. Like, it
No
was more
appetite.
like, no. Yeah, it was more like there was no. My daughter, I got a little bit more like, I feel like I would fake gag. Like, I would be like, nothing. Like, but I wasn't a vomiter.
okay.
I had actually had pretty decent pregnancies.
Nice.
Yeah, because I feel like
Good.
once you could past 5 months is great. Up to
Yeah.
that, you're just getting fat. Like,
Okay.
people just look at you and you're like, why can't I still wear my same clothes, but
Yeah.
you're just like doing this. And then when it finally pops out, like, people open the door and they do all that. Then you have a baby and it's like, get out of the way. Like,
Right.
I feel like everyone's always so nice when you're pregnant.
Yeah.
So.
This is insane. Like, the first pregnant woman on a Britney tour doing front aerials. That's insane.
I mean, maybe I wasn't the first. Yeah, who knows? We
Wait,
don't know everyone's story.
That's so true. You
No, it's
guys,
great.
tell us if you were pregnant on a Britney tour,
Right.
please.
I think it was just me, probably.
You were in the Slave for You video?
Yes.
Okay, can we talk about that really quick?
Okay.
Because
I know.
was
The best job. I will say, and then again, when you talk about careers, like, I didn't have that dance career. I think I had a quality over quantity. So I feel like as a dancer, like, I was always very jealous of, when I was like, oh, I want to do that. I want to be, you would hear about people's doing these jobs.
yeah.
But the jobs I did get were so iconic. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I did the Superbowl with Janet. Oh, I did,
Wow.
like, I did Britney. I did, Glee took,
So
8
wait,
years
was
of
that
life.
Justin's fault or? Kidding.
We
It's
knew,
fine.
but like, and again, before all this crazy social media, we went backstage, we took pictures, we were like
Yeah.
having fun, got back on the bus, went back to the hotel. We still don't know what happened. We didn't even know. It wasn't until someone would get like a phone call later and was like,
Yeah.
hey, turn on the news. And we're like, what? Knew nothing about it. So, but was it his fault? No, what it was that it was all in the media. It was all her fault, and it wasn't his.
And that's
if you're
insane.
talking about the women and the difference, is
Right.
that it broke her down,
Yeah.
but it didn't break him.
Exactly. So unfair. And also, by the way, like,
Gorgeous booby.
everyone's mom is on OnlyFans now. So, like, it's insane that was even.
It's also the wrong time and place and things. Like,
Yeah.
if it happens now, like,
It just wasn't fair.
Yeah.
All of it was so unfair. Like, dear media, you guys are insane. So, yeah. Okay.
Slave, what do you want to know about the video?
You guys, what do we want to know?
I will say there's one part of the video that I am very, very much not in, but it was like, so one of the last parts when we were filming, like the sweaty part where like it just gets tighter and tighter and tighter. And like normally as like a dancer, I really care and like you're getting in. And as it started compressing, I kind of started like pushing out because like everyone was so sweaty.
You're like, it was honestly really gnarly.
Like really hot and gross. And like, you kind of do like if I'm just not right up on Britney right now, like now
you're not going to be in the shot.
Not in that shot, and I just like so opposite of everything like that Brian and Wade ever like taught me about like like can't see the camera. I'm like can't really see the camera. That's okay. But like they were just like dripping, and it was like that was just towards the end. But it was like no, it was great.
So like I feel like Brian did not get enough hype as the choreographer because
Well, so I think Wade had been choreographing for Britney.
Okay.
Right? So he'd been doing it for a while, you know, a long while before that and doing stuff with them. When Brian came on and then started to do collaboration with it. So it was Wade and Brian.
Yeah.
So Wade's name had already been a little bit more out there. I think all of us who were Brian fans and knew him in the dance world were so happy because also any job you're doing, you know who the choreographer is, you know less who's assisting at the time. Yeah. And I think Brian was so much more than an assistant. And then that's where the recognition came out. Yeah. But so much of that entire tour was collaboration, or then Brian would do like little pieces. I think Toxic was his first independent all him.
Okay, amazing.
So that's where, yes, if you think of it, it's Wade got a lot of it. But I think what's really nice is that at least in our world, I think we all know that it's Wade and Brian is getting enough of that credit for that. But yeah.
Okay, well, because Slave is just the choreography, right?
Iconic.
Like, so
and also, wait, the fucking song. Like, you have to also remember when you come into any rehearsal process and you're like, great, I'm like so excited to be in this. Like, I remember, like, I've never been on the MTV Awards. Like I've never done any of this stuff. So we're in rehearsal and they're like, okay, we're going to play you the song. And like to hear Slave before anyone else does. And then to be like, this is what we're dancing to. And it was like, amazing. And then they're like, and you're going to be animals. And then we're like, what? I don't understand. Yes, like you are a zebra and you are a this and like.
And was that Wade saying that, or was that more Brian?
Well, I that was so for the VMAs, the direction where it all went, and then you're sitting there and you don't know what part is good or not. So like then they're like working with people and you're like still sitting, and then they're like, and then I was like the belly dancer, and I was like. Oh, but I'm not an animal? Like, of course I'm an animal. Like, I was expected to be the tiger.
Oh my
like,
God.
Okay, you're gonna be the belly dancer group. And then it was like, and it was Stacey Flood, and she was my partner. And I was like, wait, I'm not supposed to dance with Stacey Flood? Because Stacey Flood's like the it girl. Like, Stacey Flood was in she's probably in like 800 music videos.
Wow.
Like she was all, like all the Enrique Iglesias when it was just like him and it was always Stacey Flood.
But like I only know you though, Brooke. So.
Yeah, but when you're I'm that person
knew.
now dancing with this one. Oh, did you put me with the right person? Because like she's the hot girl. Like I'm not the hot girl. So, but that's the difference.
You're like I'm the tiger.
I'm the tiger, but Brian was the tiger. So
okay.
He was a good tiger. They airbrushed me so many times. They couldn't get me. Well, they would put like makeup on me, and then someone would come back and be like, "Has anyone put any color on you?" And I was like, "Uh huh." No. And they're like, "We're gonna do it again." And then they come back and do it again. But it's like, I couldn't get tan enough. I'm so pasty.
The choreography though.
Yeah.
Was it Wade or Brian that did like the
that's Wade. Like you can see that. That's Wade. That's Wade. That's Wade.
Okay. And what was his?
Well, look, I wasn't in there when they were in the rehearsal room together.
Okay.
So, you know, I don't know if Wade did this and then Brian did this. Like, I don't know, you know, like we need to break that down. But it was like, boom, like the difference is like when Wade would teach it to Brian would teach it, because like we would be messing up and then Brian would like sing a song. He'd be like, break the chains, no chains on me. Like, so like any of us can still say that. Like, that's how you know the choreography.
Yes.
Like, you broke the chains, no chains on me. And then you have to do the, like those things never go out of your mind. So,
I feel like no one knows this though.
Oh, no
like,
one.
Everyone needs to know this.
Oh, that's the fun. Like, that's the fun stuff about rehearsals and songs and making them up. And I mean, I think the same thing happens with all that, the Glee cast is like, we never knew the lyrics of what we were choreographing and things. But like, also it's like, I got dirty knees. It's like, that's how like you would sing the songs and like, remember what steps were. It's like, you can't just remember steps after steps. Like, you have to laugh throughout the process and do things. So
yeah. It's like dancer lingo. Like,
Yes.
is there a what is the term for this?
for not knowing the lyrics of every artist that we're doing. Yeah.
Just
I mean, maybe that's why.
why.
Yeah. Has anyone ever done it? I just love the breakdowns that they do of them now. Like, that's what I do love about when people do these silly memes and things of something and where it's just like, or what is it, mic'd up right now? Like, right now, what they've been doing to us, they've been putting a mic on either like an assistant teaching or taking class, and like just people just do ooh ah and like cutting down together every dancer's stupid little things that they say in between, which is hilarious.
Okay, wait, but has there been, because I feel like there's like dancers get judgy if you still say certain things like work. Like, work was such a long time ago. I feel like, are you still allowed to say work? Are you still allowed to say got? Like, what is?
You can. You can say it all.
Okay, none of it is.
None of it. I mean, I feel like you get dated now a little bit, but also I get so mad at when my kids talk because they'll say something and they'll say a phrase and I'll be like, what does that mean? And then they'll like try to explain it. And I'm like, you just basically took one word and then you used a quarter of the syllable. And I'm supposed to think that means something that's like meaningful.
Right. Yeah.
Or then they can't explain it because they don't really know what it means.
Like on cap or like big yikes.
Yeah. And I'm just like, what is that? And then they're like, Mom, it makes perfect sense. And I was like, what does it mean? And they're like, like, I mean, it's kind of this. And I was like, so you don't know. And they're like,
it's
like,
I really don't.
Great. You really don't. So but I think that's what everyone just has words and you just have to, everything is like saying it with confidence. It's also like really bad dance steps. Like, this step is so bad.
Thank you.
But people still do that and they do it with, and people like still cheer. I heard dabbing's coming back.
Like, let's not. Like, let's bring out a plie layout to the ground, Susie Taylor.
Instead of doing that. It's funny. People don't even know what axles are anymore.
I was just gonna fucking say axle.
Nobody knows how to even do an axle. And people don't even know what going across the floor is.
See, this is why I bring up Slave, because I feel like it's timeless.
Okay, Slave also is the hardest. It is probably the hardest. What everyone thinks is like an easy thing to go. They're like, oh my God, please teach Slave. And I'm like, you don't want to. Like, you don't, or sure, but also I'm going to keep telling you you're doing it wrong. like you got to get lower. It's like, no, it's not just here. It's like every finger was placed.
Yes.
You know, like it was so particular. And then if you ever go watch something crazy like when we did the Rosie O'Donnell or some of these long performances where you watch the number from head to toe and there's like a 4-minute version that you do not repeat a single step.
Oh my God. No.
Yeah.
Like, wait, every chorus was different?
Yeah, you don't do this twice.
Oh my God.
We don't do that
you
twice.
Guys,
do you, because when you do get to slave, because I'm a slave. right? Like you think of when all the, like, that's the partnering version one, or you go bum ba ka ka, right? You do the single version. That's not the same choreography.
Oh my God.
So that we don't have a chorus that repeats and goes. You have to rewind it or fast forward to one, a minute and 20 seconds to get to the good part that you think, but all of that was
my
choreographed
God.
from head to toe. So yeah.
And you're like, what city are we in?
Right. And then every once in a while we would be revamping the number and doing these things and be like, can we just repeat it once? It's like, nope.
Oh my
can't.
God. Because every stage was different too.
Yeah.
Like if you have a circle 360 stage.
Oh, but like when we would do a talk show, like everything looks so much bigger when you get there, but like it would be this big, it would be this square, and you would have the four of us on it, and it'd be like, we got to move on a circle and don't step on anything, and
make it look like you're traveling without traveling.
Or you're on the Bellagio stage where it is raining on you because it's fountains, and
my God.
And if you walk too quickly, we were gonna slip.
Oh my
So
God.
that version's called the couture version, because it was always like, and a walk. And we actually looked gorgeous because it was like the first time we were all in like this high fashion black.
Wow.
And like,
oh my God, Roberto Cavalli.
Like, well, I mean, I don't think I was, but maybe
my God.
the other people. But it was, but we were in Vegas and the fountains were going and the stage is just so they couldn't dry the stage.
Wow.
So you're just like, so even the chorus, it was like Brian's like couture. Like it was all like in the face, and it was like, because what you didn't want to do is you didn't want to fall on your face.
No, and like the spray tan is dripping.
I only spray tan for special occasions.
Okay.
Like
thank
only
God.
when they look at me and they're like, you're too pasty. Other rest of the time I'm like, yes, I'm pasty.
I love the pasty.
I love it. I own it.
It's so beautiful and gorgeous.
You should see me in the sun. I wear turtlenecks and hats and gloves. It's like, don't touch it.
Yes. Okay. So I mean, I could stay here for another.
We'll do it again.
Yeah, we'll do a part 2 with Britney. We're gonna bring her on.
We need to get her. I just want to spin. I just want to spin. Yeah.
We're manifesting it. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
What do you want to leave the kids with, and the teachers, and like all of the people? Like, what do you want to tell them? What do you want them to know?
Well, oh gosh.
Final message.
Everyone's going through shit. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, whatever you see out there, it's bullshit. You know? So when everyone's like feels alone or it's so hard or no one else has to deal with this, it's like we're all dealing with something.
Yeah.
You know? And so I just want people to be more honest with everything that they're doing out there and more appreciative and welcoming of it. Like, and also I want everyone to keep their mouth shut. Like if you don't like something, you don't have to tell us. You know, like as a kid, as a student, like you also don't have to have a huge opinion or do things. Sometimes like just do what you're told, see if that works. Like so like not everything is the end of the world. Like know that things are hard, and when they're hard, talk about it. And then when you don't like it, it's like, sure, you don't like it, but you don't also have to tell everybody what everybody did wrong or why that was hurtful or what it's like, well, maybe that person had a bad day. Like I want people to be more considerate to themselves and to everyone else around us.
Yeah.
And I think that's just like, and in that way, like by letting go and having fun, like we got to learn to make fun of ourselves. And like, you know, I was like, I just want people to talk about their boogers and talk about everything bad and like talk about the real stuff. Cause like that's actually easier to talk to people about. Like we're just talking about real shit that's going on here.
Right.
Like I'm not trying to be like, oh, and so in my life. And like, that's not the type of genuine person I want to be. So, you know, I just want to keep connecting with that, you know, and I want to keep reminding people to come out here and, you know, that if we're all open to sort of that, we're going to be in a better environment. Like, You know?
No, and there is something to be said when everyone comes together and you guys get to the other side as a team, as a crew, and it's like, it's so beautiful, it's so magical.
Yeah.
Like that's the number one thing I miss is the camaraderie and like
Absolutely.
having like 20 people dancing together, moving together, breathing together, sweating together.
Yeah.
Like that is, there's nothing like it.
No, well, and that's where, like, as a dancer, taking that group effort, like, there is a part of that accountability of, like, I have to adapt myself to make myself look good for you. I don't get to be selfish and be like, well, you're doing it that way, I'm doing it this way. There's something about learning that, but then there's also of I'm doing it this big. Come on, you can do it. You can dance bigger and pushing everybody. And I think that's. A lot of dancers have also lost that. Like, there's like, well, what do I have to do? How far should I go?
Yeah.
You know, because dance has changed. It's become more demanding. Like, people got excited if you held your leg to your head. I mean, I remember when leg spins became like, whoa, you can do a leg spin? I mean, I don't even think I see leg spins anymore. But now you just see people like literally like 360 and then fly to the air and then crash on their back and then go on their toes and then do it again. And I'm like, are you okay? like you don't have to do it that, like, you can still be beautiful and not do. So I feel like the extreme of it has also lost the ability that, like, just moving is an extreme alone, you know? So I don't know. It's just, there's so many different things that we're missing. It's not about all the flash and there. So, you know, just remembering the simple things actually make every day better.
I can second that because I feel like the dancers that can just put their leg out and you're like, like those are the best dancers. Right. Period.
Right.
Like they didn't have to do shit. And
Oh my
you're
God.
like,
like, if you can walk. Like, that's all the thing. Because, like, I watch these dancers and I'm like, they just did all this trip and then they're like walking like this across. I'm like, wait, actually,
where's the soul?
But also, if you can show off there, why would you just show me that you can't show off on the other side? Like that's the easiest thing to do and project. And so, you know, I mean, I understand why stop teaching at 14 because you're like, why are you doing
No, I kept teaching and I stopped at 17. I stopped at 17, honey. I was like, I didn't want to yell at you guys anymore.
I know. I try not to yell.
I was in the dance studio with two of my adult friends like a few weeks ago, and it was my turn to do a little combo, and I was like, and move, guys, and up and down, and move, and breathe, and harder, go, go, go. And then I watch it back, and I'm like, oh God.
But in the best way, isn't that your, like, that's your cheerleader? Like, that's your motivation? No, it is. It's like, I feel like that's a lot how I do teach. Cause I'm like, I say those things cause now it's pushing you. Cause if I can't turn on the music and let the combo go for the whole, like, even as 30 seconds. And if I don't say anything by the time the kids are done, like, it's like I didn't watch it.
Right.
No, that's crazy. Like, I'm always like, and you got. But I feel like that's just also different personalities.
Right.
But there are beautiful teachers who watch it and they do that and they're sitting there and they watch their combo.
I don't know how.
And then afterwards you go, absolutely, that was gorgeous. I felt that. And I'm like, I didn't yell at them enough in that one. Like, it's just different. But again, I'm not teaching that combo. I'm teaching that combo. So, you know.
For sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, I love that.
I love you.
You guys, I want you guys getting injured just doing this, okay? Like, I need injuries.
I did say that this weekend when I was teaching. I was like, you guys, I want your arms to fall off.
Yeah.
Like, you better shake so hard. And they were like, and I was like, nobody's arm fell off. And it was like, and they're like, mine did. I'm like, you're a compulsive liar. And she's like, I love those damn juniors. They're so good.
Yes.
So fun.
Oh, God. Okay. We are so grateful for Brooke effing Lipton, you guys. We need Brooke t-shirts. We do.
I know. I need one of yours.
Yes. We need House of Brooke.
Oh, so fun.
Right?
Yeah. I love it.
Okay, so tell all the people, where can we find you? You guys are going to see footage for the first time during this episode.
Nowhere. You can find me nowhere. I guess I'm on Instagram. I don't.
You are.
I think I post like twice at like my kids' birthdays, and then I'll be like, oh.
Your stories are good. You're posting on your stories.
I try.
Yeah.
You know what? I do when people post or send me something. I do try and like repost it.
Yeah.
You know. But I try and put up there. But I have a hard time like, you know,
sharing it.
sharing. I do. I will post stuff. I'm on Instagram.
Okay.
Brooke_Lipton.
If there's any college students that would like to intern for Brooke and just post for her.
Oh, that would be fantastic. I actually have a whole entire pro company. I mentor.
Yes.
I mentor like 30 college students.
Oh my God.
So I guess that's your job now.
Yes.
You guys are on my social media.
Whoever wants the job, she's
Well,
ready.
they're already there. I make them take notes for me. So
Okay, perfect.
I guess maybe they can make my reel.
Yes.
I need a reel.
We want the real. We want the real. We want the
Yes.
real. I love you guys so much. Give yourself a hug. Do something that you love today to make yourself feel warm and fuzzy.
Ooh,
Yes.
like do an infrared spa, like sauna.
Yes.
I'm going later.
Do the infrared spa, but also go take class from Brooke.
Come dance.
Yes. I want to take class.
Yes, I should teach it in LA. That would be fun.
Is that going to happen?
Sure.
Like maybe at the playground?
Sure. I'll call Kenny and be like, I need to teach a master. I know.
The Kenny story I have. I can't say it.
I remember when Kenny was a baby taking at convention, him and Nick Baga, and I was like, oh my God, these boys are going to be a disaster one day.
Yeah.
And in the best way, like loved, like they're
They're
hilarious.
still doing great.
They're still fantastic. We love them.
Oh, Kenny. Oh my God. Anyway, okay, so we love you guys and we'll see you later.